Hello, welcome. So here we are again to talk about chapter 16 of Chem 1046. And this chapter would cover stuff like, one second, acids and bases, basically. And so I can say that for me, the one thing I learned the most and better mostly was acid strength. So basically the main thing being to remember that strong acids and bases means a strong electrolyte, and a weak acid and base would mean a weak electrolyte. So some examples of strong acids would be hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, hydrobromic acid, hydriodic acid, perchloric acid, I think I already mentioned nitric acid, and sulfuric acid. And on the other side, for some examples of weak acids, you would mention stuff like hydrofluoric acid, sulfurous acid, carbonic acid, phosphoric acid, formic acid, acetic acid, and I already mentioned hydrofluoric acid. Okay. And one thing that I struggle with really was like all the letters like the pH, pK, kb, all that stuff gets really confusing sometimes. So the way I'm able to sort of tackle that and be able to learn through that is to just sort of write down. I bought like a little board at my house, just kind of writing them down, telling you what that means. Mostly about finding acids and the pH of an acid and that sort of thing. So then I would like to know, how was it for you in this chapter?
For this chapter, it's just like you. The subject that I thought it was a little bit easier to learn or to grasp was the definition of Arrhenius definition. It says that the acid produces H plus in a solution and it's completely dissolved, which make it a strong acid in a base. It produced OH minus in a solution, which it was easy for me to grasp that. The subject that for me was a little bit difficult to grasp was the Bronsted-Lowry theory was a little bit confusing for me.
Yeah, the name.
And the idea that acid and base are defined by their ability to donate or accept protons, H plus ion, seems simple, but applying the concept to different chemical reaction was challenging for me. So I struggled to identify which substances were acid or which were bases, especially when dealing with amphoteric, which is it can be acid or base at the same time, which I forget about it.
It happens, yeah.
So how I overcome that struggle was to review the fundamental concept. So I go back to the protons, the acid, the base, and I try to understand what a proton transfer is. Like usually if you see the plus, it means it's gonna lose. If you see the minus, it's gonna gain, all that. And also I use visual aids. I find diagram and reaction mechanism helpful to grasp the subject. And also I do a lot of practice with examples. I work through many practices on Alex, and the exam that the professor gave, that helps as well. I ask questions through every steps that I'm doing the equations to see which one gonna get the H plus, which one gonna donate the H plus. That helps me as well.
Awesome. All right, so now I would like to know what your point of view, guys, was for chapter 16, guys.
For chapter 16, I found it one of the easier chapters to learn. Identifying what the acid and what a base was, how an acid has a hydrogen, has a H plus ion, bases are identified by the OH ions. Finding the conjugate pairs were super easy to me. I just was able to see like where the hydrogen was moved to, and I was able to determine what the pairs were. One thing I did struggle with was just what was it? Trying to find the pH of things. I had me lost for a second. and I always forgot to do negative log, and I'd always get the wrong answer, and I'd be like sitting there, I'm like, oh, that's great.
PHBK, yeah.
Yeah, I still get them confused. What's like find KSP? I'm like I can't remember, but I overcome the struggle by just doing a lot of practice problems, like all the things that you posted, and then I had Alex practice problems as well. That really did help.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Bronsted-Lowry definitions and the conjugate acids and bases were definitely the easiest portions of the chapter. But for me, I would say I struggled a lot with the equations too. Like, for example, like weak acid and base calculations, figuring out like the which pH would make it a neutral salt or a strong base or strong acid, or a acidic salt or a basic salt, because I didn't learn that before. So what I would also say what helped me too was like going over the slides and figuring out the definitions and conceptual things for everything, because I think I struggled more with concepts than the actual math. And the Alex practice problems helped me too, because like the corrections of everything helped me figure out where I went wrong and what to improve. So yeah.
Hell yeah, that was chapter 16, acids and bases.